Outdoor misadventures, camping alone, and doing Disney solo? More on episode 19 with Lauren of OutdoorsyDiva.com. Hey, Theme Park Hipsters, it's your host, Nikki J, the owner of ThemeParkHipster.com, where I help you plan the best solo theme park vacation with the latest tips, reviews, personal stories, and more. Welcome once again, guys. Today I have a spectacular episode just for you. I will be chatting with Lauren of OutdoorsyDiva.com, who shares her misadventures with all of her great solo travels. She has a very wonderful story of how she got started. So let's go ahead and listen. Our guest today is the owner of OutdoorsyDiva.com. She is a social media influencer who is passionate about living her life as one great big adventure. She's a blogging millennial and a mom of a teenage son with a propensity for adventures, travel, nature, new and unique experiences, especially with theme parks and food. She is a contributor to the Huffington Post and has been featured in Blavity, on Tampa Bay's Morning Blend, ABC Action News. Also, she has been featured in Outdoor Family Magazine and so much more. She's one of my favorite people, so let's go ahead and welcome Lauren to the Theme Park Hipster Show.
Hi, thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so happy to be here with you too. So I told everybody that you own OutdoorsyDiva.com. So can you let us know a little bit about that?
Yes, OutdoorsyDiva.com. The full name of the blog is Misadventures of an Outdoorsy Diva. I started 5 years ago, and it was just out of the desire to inspire people to try different things, to step out of their comfort zone, and, just get outside, get outdoors, appreciate nature, embrace travel, embrace unique experiences, whether it's solo or with your family or as a single parent. I wanted people to see someone like me who's all of those things and feel inspired and empowered to do them too.
Oh, man, I love that story. So when you talk about people going outdoors, what are some of the common myths that you come across that people talk to you about?
I mean, one of the most prevalent myths and a huge part of why I started my blog is that Black people in America don't enjoy the outdoors. That's like a huge myth. And that stems from a lot of things. Right? It's only what you see. And so when you look at the outdoor industry as a whole, you really don't see representation for people of color, and it's particularly for Black people in advertising and media for the outdoor recreation realm. Black travel has really taken off, I'd say, in the last few years as far as becoming more prevalent and seeing it in the media. But I think it's because I'm in those circles. It's not still necessarily what you see mainstream. So when you think about some myths of the outdoors, that's a huge one. And another one is that it's costly or it's expensive to have an outdoor hobby. And while some sports, incur a cost like skiing or something of that sort does require heavy duty equipment and activity, there's definitely so many ways that you can experience the outdoors cheaply or even for free. It's just a matter of knowing those resources and knowing how to go about it.
Okay, that's very interesting. And when you say now that there's Black people really getting involved with it, have you been able to connect with some of the people in that community?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, since starting the blog, once I kind of put myself out there, right, and people saw this Black girl with her big afro, kayaking and, jumping off of stuff and doing all this crazy adventurous stuff, other people gravitated toward me. So one of the groups that's been doing this for a long, long time, way before me, was Outdoor Afro. They've been huge in getting that same message out, and I've been fortunate to connect with them and participate in some of their trips as well.
Wow, that is so cool. And now that you have been connected with people and you're in this industry of outdoors traveling and being Black and doing it, have you ever done it by yourself before, or have you ever thought about doing it by yourself?
Oh, absolutely. So I went camping by myself last year for my birthday. I went camping at Costa State Park, which is actually in Florida, and it's an island. I wanted to do something different. I didn't plan this for months. It was literally 2 weekends before my birthday, and I was like, oh, what will we do for Laurentine's Day this year? My birthday is a holiday. I'm a little extra. But that was what, I just went on the state park website looking for new state parks I hadn't been to, and I knew I wanted to be on the beach, and I came across this one. So I figured, why not? The original plan was to stay in a cabin. They do have cabins in that state park, but they were all full because I waited till the last minute, which is why the blog is Misadventures of an Outdoorsy Diva. It never goes as I planned it to go. There's always something awry, but you make the best of it, and that's the best adventure. So because the cabins were full, I decided I was going to go anyway. I do own a tent. I just hadn't pitched it by myself before. So I pitched it now twice, with my son and a friend of mine. So I felt like I was pretty confident I'd be able to get it up by myself. So I booked it. I drove down about the 2 hours, parked, took the ferry, took all of my stuff. I backpacked in. I had everything I needed. I had my cooler, I had my tent, and it was a great weekend of solitude. But at the same time, I made friends because I was by myself. So it's funny when you do things solo, even though you go alone, a lot of times you end up leaving having made a connection with someone else.
Wow, that is so amazing. And just to think that this is in Florida, when you mention something like that, I don't really correlate Florida to that type of travel because, theme parks, of course, but to have like a place where you have a list of state parks to go to, and to do that in Florida where you're taking a ferry over to an island and you're going out there in this whole nother section of Florida. I mean, that is amazing. You talked about pitching the tent yourself. How did it go by yourself? I'm curious.
I did it, and I did it in record time, actually. The first time we ever used that tent, we backpacked in, and it was actually a trip with Outdoor Afro. They took me on my first overnight backpacking trip where we had to hike in with like everything we would need for 3 days. Mm-hmm. And we ended up having to pitch that tent in the rain, like a storm rolled in just as we approached the site. So the first time we didn't do it right because we were just trying to get up shelter. The second time was a little more planned when I used the tent, so I had a better feel for it. So I practiced in my backyard this time. So when I got there, I put it up like a pro. And it's funny because people saw this, Black girl by herself, and people felt inclined to help and offer their unsolicited tips and advice, if you will. And I know people mean well, but it can get a bit annoying, but you never know when you'll need help. So, you're always friendly about it. But, I was like, no, I have it. I got it. I didn't cop out and let anybody do it for me. I did it by myself, and it was really a piece of cake.
Wow. Dang, I love this story. And you're encouraging me to get more involved in the outdoors life. I'm not there yet with the solo part, but I have to start somewhere,
Yep. I have all the advice you need when you're ready.
Thank you so much. Now, I know going out camping is a part of the outdoors life, but you're also a big theme park fan. Yeah.
Absolutely.
At what point in your life did you realize you had a special love for theme parks?
Oh man, that goes way back, into childhood. I'm originally from Dallas, Texas. So the big theme park for us there is Six Flags Over Texas, of course. So I looked forward every summer to that trip with summer camp to go to Six Flags and Wet and Wow. That was like the go-to field trip that I would not miss every single year. So it's been from childhood and it's just grown. Of course, I'm not necessarily down for all the same types of rides as I was back then, but I definitely still enjoy them. And it wasn't until I moved to Florida that I got exposed to what it's like to experience Disney, because being in Texas, that's just not a trip that my family could afford back then. So it wasn't until I was a teenager that I actually had my first Disney experience, and then I was hooked.
Wow. And now that you've had the experience of a Six Flags in Texas, in Dallas, Texas, and now that you know about the Walt Disney World experience and all the theme parks here in Florida, what's like one of the differences you've noticed between the Disney experience and, Six
Six
Flags?
Flags?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I think Six Flags is like, and I've been to that one and the one over Georgia. Six Flags to me is more about the rides and the thrill. Whereas there have been times where I've gone to Disney and honestly not rode a single thing. So I think the way that Disney transports you into kind of a whole other world, if you will, the complete immersion of it. Nobody does that like Disney. That's the difference, where Disney is like total immersion and you can actually go and have an amazing time between the food and the drinks available and other attractions and not necessarily ride a single ride. Whereas when I go to Six Flags, I'm going to ride, and there's no particular food or restaurant or something I'm itching to try because, it's theme park food.
I agree with you 110%. When I think about the Disney experience and amusement park experience, such as Six Flags, there are just two totally different types of experiences. And you're right, when you go to Six Flags, it's roller coaster thrills, get on it. When it's Disney's, the magic is getting lost over there at the parks. Now, you go to the parks a lot. Have you ever went solo? I know you do camping solo, but what about the theme parks? Have you ever gone solo?
Absolutely. I've been to Disney solo more times than I can count. And that actually stemmed from you, or a great influence, Theme Park Hipster, for just showing me that it's okay to go by yourself. When I got our Disney annual passes originally, it was my son and I. And as he's gotten older, he still enjoys it. He just has less free time where he can go with me. So I kind of had to get my money's worth and get out of that shell and just be like, okay, I can do this by myself. And you were right. It's amazing. And also Universal, I have passes for as well. And because they have the whole Harry Potter worlds in both of the parks, it's just complete immersion. And I'll go by myself all the time just to have a butterbeer and sit out and look at the castle. It's like my happy place.
So what's like one of your favorite reasons that you love going to theme parks by yourself? Like, what's your favorite reason for going to a theme park alone?
Because I can do whatever the heck I want to do. I don't have to consult with anyone. It's the same reason I like to travel by myself.
Yes.
I don't have to consult with anyone. I'm not on anyone else's timeline or mood swing or what they feel like doing. It is a completely selfish, self-indulgent experience where I can go when I want, go where I want, eat what I want, leave when I'm ready to leave, without having to answer to anyone. So sometimes you just need that selfish me time.
I'm so happy you said that, because I say that to people all the time. They're like, I don't think they really understand what it's like to go to a theme park by yourself.
You just have to do it.
Yes. So what would you say to someone who's kind of afraid to go to a theme park by themselves because they're like, I don't know what I'm going to do, who I'm going to talk to, what would you say to that person to just get started or anything?
Just like with everything else, I mean, you literally just have to commit and do it, and you won't know until you try it. And obviously it won't be for everyone, but you won't know until you try that experience, because you have to navigate, yourself. You can't depend on anyone else to kind of navigate you to where to go. And what you'll find happens is you'll take your time more, and you'll come across things that you probably have passed a million times and you didn't notice them, because you're always kind of just veering toward doing what someone else wants to do or what someone else wants to see. So if you take that time by yourself, you take a leisurely walk, through Epcot, and you'll just come across things and you'll be like, wow, I never knew that was even there.
Correct again, guys. I mean, come on. We have Outdoorsy Diva who does it all anyway, and she still loves her theme park solo trips, and she still has a great time. Now, I know you mentioned earlier that you have both a Disney and a Universal pass, annual passes, which I shouldn't get into the middle of the two, but which do you like to go by yourself the most?
Oh man, I can't.
I know, I'm sorry.
But okay, can I give you both have their unique purposes?
Okay, I can take that.
I would say if I want a solo park experience with something amazing to eat and something really, really tasty to drink, then it's Disney. In particular, Epcot. Or Hollywood Studios, because I have discovered some gems in there, and you definitely introduced me to some little hidden bars that I wasn't privy to, but definitely, Disney kind of offers that, those choices if what I really want is that type of experience. But I would say Universal, I'm probably more likely to go and actually ride things by myself. Like I'll go on the castle ride. I'll go on Escape from Gringotts, have my butterbeer, take 500 pictures of the dragon as if I don't already have 1,000 pictures of that dragon, right?
Yes, I agree with you.
My butterbeer ice cream. So, and shop, of course, as a Harry Potter fan, they always get me for my money. There's always something I don't have that I think I need. But and the other rides too, like I'm probably more likely to ride things when I go to Universal by myself versus Disney when I go by myself. Most of the time I don't ride anything. If I do, it's something leisurely like the Land or Soaring or the Pirate Ride or something like that. But usually I go to people watch, eat, and drink.
That's why this is why we're friends, guys. 'Cause we are on the same vibe. That's how I do my Disney and my Universal trips, and hopefully whatever theme parks we do in the future, there's always going to be that, where's my drink? Where's my nice seat with a great view? And that's my theme park experience sometimes. And you mentioned the magic of Disney, the magic of Universal, but there's also that Diagon Alley, Wizarding World of Harry Potter, and then across Orlando is Pandora. This is the great debate, guys. You've been to Pandora.
I have.
You've been to Diagon Alley.
Millions of times.
So what are your thoughts on those two sections? Do you think they kind of can contrast each other, or you think they're like totally separate? Why are we even talking about this?
You know what? I can't. I have to say, so I was actually fortunate enough to be at the grand opening of Diagon Alley. And I was also at the pass holders preview, one of the first 50 people to get into Pandora as well. And as you well know, and it's on the blog, I was in there for 9 hours because I was afraid to leave and get kicked out. So I didn't want to leave because I stayed past, my designated time window. So I have examined every nook and cranny of Pandora as well as Diagon. And I have to say, for Disney, they definitely stepped it up. This is probably what I loved about Diagon when I went at grand opening, was how when you turn that corner and you enter those bricks, you are no longer in Universal Studios.
Yes.
You are in Diagon Alley 100%. You forget about the outside world. Like, and when you leave, you're like, oh, yeah, I'm still in a theme park.
Yes, I agree. Yes.
And so I think with Pandora, Disney actually did accomplish that. They really did. And it spoke to my outdoorsy self, because I can just go sit and listen to the waterfalls and be happy. Like, they did a wonderful job of creating that same kind of illusion of escape. And it's the same thing. Like, when I walk out of Pandora, I'm like, oh, that's right. There is the rest of Animal Kingdom. I just think but it's not as vast. And I think the biggest difference is that, let's be honest, they waited how many years until they introduced Pandora. So I don't think fans are as vested and connected to the world of Avatar as we are to the world of Diagon Alley and Harry Potter. So I think it's a difference in fandom that kind of makes people really love one over the other. But just purely on an aesthetic and a technical standpoint, I mean, they're neck and neck.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I mean,
I tried to give a balanced overview.
You did, and I tried hard not to have you have to, decide between the two, but you're absolutely right. They both whisk you away from the park when you're already in a park that's filled with magic, and then they take you, another realm, and you totally get immersed. And it's the same for both parks and Pandora. I think because the fandom is not as strong as Harry Potter, it probably doesn't have the same type of loyalty as the Wizarding World of Harry Potter fans do.
But with Star Wars on the horizon, if they manage to do the same thing, we might have a real competition.
But you know what? When there's competition between the Universal creative teams and the Imagineers at Disney,
right, it's great for us.
It's great, exactly. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. This has been such a wonderful, wonderful interview, and catching up with some of your solo adventures on both the Outdoorsy Diva tip and just going to the theme parks.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. And I know we're ending the show, but I just kind of want to know, is there a type of quote out there, or is there a quote, if any, that inspires you in your life, in your travels, that you're kind of, reading or going over in your head right now in your life?
I would say, in particular right now, I know you're going to laugh.
Okay.
But it's a really simplistic one, and it stems from a very famous book that you probably all know and love.
Okay.
By Dr. Seuss.
All right.
And
what is it?
All the places you will go.
Yes.
Just that phrase alone just speaks volumes to me as far as how my life has evolved into this story and this journey that I didn't imagine, and the adventures that lie ahead. So just looking back at the last 5 years, it's unbelievable, the things that I've been able to do that I didn't dream I'd ever do. So, just the places you will go, just looking ahead, like this is only the beginning. Like I'm just beginning to really delve into living in my purpose, into walking through those doors that are being opened for me. So I'm really looking forward to just seeing, what's next.
That is amazing. And anything that you have coming up this year, or anything that you want us to know about Outdoorsy Diva?
Sure. I would love for you to subscribe. It's outdoorsydiva.com. I'm Outdoorsy Diva on Instagram and Pinterest and Twitter. I will be launching a podcast of my own later this summer. So, of course, I'm going to have Theme Park Hipster on to join me. So that's coming up. My next trip is actually a partnership with Sandals Resorts. So I'll be there in June, in just a couple of weeks, actually. So that's going to be pretty cool. It's my first international media trip. So I'm really excited about that.
Man, congratulations on the podcast that will be launching this summer. And I hope you have a great time in Jamaica. That is an amazing partnership to have with Sandals. And thank you for joining me. And
thank you for having me so much. I love to come back.
Definitely.
This was fun.
You can come back anytime you want, and I can't wait to be on your podcast too.
Thank you.
All right, guys, there you have it. Lauren of OutdoorsyDiva.com. And we are back. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode with Lauren. Remember, you can find her and all of her wonderful adventures over on OutdoorsｙDiva.com. Also, don't forget to grab your own personal solo theme park traveler's guide. This will help you finally make that decision to go to a theme park alone. I will have the link in the show notes, or you can just head over to ThemeParkHipster.com and click Get My Solo Guide. Be sure to rate and review this episode. That way I can continue to bring you the best solo theme park hacks tailored just for you. You can also connect with me over on the Theme Park Hipster Facebook group so we can dive deeper and discuss more. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. And until next time, happy park hopping hipsters. The content on the Theme Park Hipster Show represents my own and not those of any organizations or activity mentioned. I am just someone here who likes to share my own stories to you and hope that I can help you have the best vacation ever.